June is Audiobook Month. Join Viviana, the Enchantress of Books, and the Audiobook Lovin Series as she celebrates the authors and narrators who bring your favorite stories to life.
Hi, and happy Audiobook Month. Lucas Troy and I, Eliza Nyx, have a hot new release for you if you like spicy mafia dark romance.
Now available, Twisted Devotion by Poppy St. John. This is one of my favorite audiobook projects to date, and I love the opportunity to tell the twisted story of Rourke and Emily. Morally gray stories are a special fun for me.
If you're into gothic vibes, hate-to-love storyline, stalker-captive dynamics, billionaire criminal syndicate dark romance, then grab this new release. Oh, and don't forget the secret sex club. Make sure you check out the trigger warnings located on Poppy's website.
Prologue. Rourke. Discreet, exclusive, indulgent, worth every penny. Masks were club policy at Delirium, but I wasn't fooling anyone with mine. I could cover my face, but I couldn't cover the tattoos. Not with each finger on my left hand inked down to the first knuckle, and bold black lines carving up my neck to touch my throat. Even in the suit I wore, they were impossible to hide. Anonymity was paramount for the survival of the club, but each and every person here knew my name, knew that I answered to none of them. Only upon the word of a current member and a direct invitation from me could they be allowed the honor of entry to my kingdom. The constraints of our members' real lives didn't matter anymore the instant they stepped foot on the property. They paid handsomely for that illusion, to become faceless, nameless avatars that lived for pleasure. Our waitlist rivaled Ivy League colleges, and annual membership cost as much as tuition. The top brass of society were the main clientele. Trophy wives, fuckboys, and mistresses weren't enough for them. They sought more, something darker, dirtier. They wanted taboo, and I gave it to them in fucking spades. When the owner of the city's biggest telecom company liked to spend his weekends getting whipped on a St. Andrew's cross, he needed somewhere safe and private to do that. When the revered city priest needed a place to come to be drilled in the ass by a massive cock, I welcomed him. I pulled my mask down, tying the ribbon strands behind my head. The filigreed gold covered half my face, leaving only my jaw visible. I slipped my tie off my neck, popping the button on my throat, revealing more ink-blackened skin. Taking the central staircase down 2 floors to the ground level, I strode across the high-ceiling foyer. Nobody walking into the estate would suspect that half of the Gothic mansion was a sex club patronized by the most powerful people in this city. Not until they opened the doors. The original 18th century locks were just for show. Popping the lid off of the hidden security panel, I scanned my retina, opening the private entrance. If you entered the club through the other side, the first thing you went through was the security check and cloakroom. No phones or any recording devices allowed. No exceptions. Footage of what went on here could sink political aspirations and ruin careers, not to mention end a few marriages. Resonant, bass-heavy music and haunting vocals played just loud enough to conceal conversations, but not so that others in attendance couldn't hear the animalistic sounds of passion and pain.
Chapter 1. Emily. Face down on the bed, her limbs were secured to its 4 posts. His open palm came down on her, cracking against heated, tender skin. She wailed, writhing uselessly against her restraints. "Please," she begged, face pressed to the mattress. She clenched as he circled the bed. "What did I say would happen if you let that man touch you?" he snapped. Fear and humiliation burned like a furnace inside her. She deserved her punishment, every agonizing second of it. His hand cracked sharply against her skin a second time. "What did I say?" he demanded. My nose wrinkled. What the fuck? Tessa's wide-eyed face looked at me expectantly. Gingerly, I closed the book I was holding, placing it carefully on the table between us. "Yeah, I don't know about this one, Tess. Not really my thing, you know?" "You can't say that after reading 1 page. More like half a page," she complained. Half was enough. I eyed the book like it was going to jump up and bite me. "I'm sure the writer did a great job," I said, smiling weakly, reaching for my cup. It was filled to the brim with bottom-shelf Cabernet Tessa brought over. I tried not to grimace as the overly sweetened red wine coated my tongue. At least it was getting the job done, helping me slough off the monotony of my day-to-day in favor of something that felt a little more like living. A pleasant lightness in my head had me sighing, the wine's warmth heating me up from the inside. Tessa was drinking too, which meant she was sleeping over. As a semi-regular visitor to snow funeral services, she was one of the rare guests that walked in on her own 2 feet. "Just try it. I know you'll like it. The last one I gave you might have been a little too spicy. This one is more tame," Tessa reported. "Tame?" I scoffed, reaching for the book. Cracking it open to a random page in the middle, I read the first line I saw. He touched the cool blade to her skin. She flinched from its cold hardness, flattened to the tender flesh of her abdomen. One flick of his wrist and he could cut her. I cocked my head, staring at her. "You call that tame?" She shrugged, compressing her lips into an unapologetic smile. "Yeah? You didn't even get to the part where I held my hands up for her to stop. Okay. I'll read it. Probably. One day." I closed the book. It was joining the last couple of books Tessa gave me. They were forming a small tower on my nightstand, spines smooth and unbroken because I didn't read them yet. They were a little too out there for me, but she got them for free from her job and I couldn't say no. "It's good, I swear," she pushed. My head nodded dutifully, taking a long draw of my wine. "If you say so." She snorted, emptying the wine bottle between us into her cup. "If you say so," she said, mimicking me. I cut my eyes to her. "Sorry, I think reading about a man flaying someone like a yellowtail a little off-putting." "Sue me," I said. "He doesn't kill her," she said. "Well, does either of them die?" I asked, and she smirked.
Well, that's all for now. Twisted Devotion is a very spicy, dark romance that you don't want to miss.
You'll find Twisted Devotion by Poppy St. John at Audible, Amazon, and Apple Books. Happy listening.
If you enjoyed the Audiobook Lovin Series and you want more, join the Audiobook Lovin Podcast Patreon for early access to podcasts, exclusive content like the Would You Rather game and dinner party guests, and additional incentives such as bloopers, graphics, and much more. Support the podcast by becoming a Patreon at www.patreon.com/audiobooklovin. Thank you for joining Viviana and her guests for this podcast, and we hope you tune in again as we continue to celebrate Audiobook Month. The Audiobook Lovin Series is hosted by Viviana, the Enchantress of Books. Please make sure to visit the main page linked within the post to learn more about the entire Audiobook Lovin Series and the enchanting author and narrator guests who have joined us over the years. If you've enjoyed today's episode, please consider leaving a review wherever you listened. Until next time, happy listening. Audiobook Lovin hopes you have enjoyed this program.